Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tuassir wa tammim bil khair. Lesson number 3. In this lesson, we will learn about comparative and superlative adjectives. In Arabic, we call it af'alu tafdeel. Tafdeel is basically faddala yufaddilu tafdeelan, to prefer something. So that's why it is called af'alu tafdeel, when you compare something or when you use the superlative adjective. Then we will learn about the ordinal numbers, al-a'dadu at-tartibiyyah, and the numbers from 11 to 20 as well. And then two sisters of inna, lakinna and ka'anna, and then the use of ayyuhuma and bala. Af'al al-tafdeel, comparative and superlative degrees. Both comparative and superlative degrees in Arabic use the same word. And what's the same word? Which is on the pattern of af'alu. And we know that af'alu is a diptot. And why it is diptot? Because it's on the pattern of af'alu. So that's why it's mamnu min as-sarf. And it's the same for masculine, feminine, singular, and plural. So when you look at the adjective, for example, tall, in Arabic it's tawilun, and for tall, the comparative degree will be atwalu, and the superlative will be also atwalu. Small, so in English we use small, and then we say smaller than, taller than, THAN. So what will we use in Arabic that will be equal to then? So we will use what? We will use min. So min equals then. So in English we say taller than, and in Arabic we say atwalu min. And when we talk about the superlative, then the case is slightly different. Saghirun, smaller, small, and asgharu, smaller, and asgharu, smallest. Jamilun is the adjective. And then we have, in English, we say more beautiful, but in Arabic, the pattern will be the same, ajmalu, and most beautiful will also be ajmalu. And then good is hasanun, and ahsanu is better, and ahsanu is the best. So now how would we differentiate that we are using this pattern for comparative or superlative? If af'alu tafdeel is followed by min, the later will be translated as then. For example, Hamidun atwalu min Bilalin. Hamid is taller than Bilal. So whenever you see min after af'alu, the pattern of af'alu, whenever it is followed by min, that means we are using it for comparative. And if af'alu tafdeel is followed by a noun in genitive case, that means when the noun is majroor after it, then af'alu is to be translated as superlative degree. For example, we say Hamidun atwalu talibin fil fasli. Hamid is the tallest student in the class. So the difference is when after the pattern of af'alu, when we have min after that, we are using it for comparative, and when we have the noun which is majroor or in the genitive case, as we can see over here, then it will give the meaning of the superlative. That means Hamidun atwalu talibin fil fasli. Hamid is the tallest student in the class. Af'alu is the same for masculine, for feminine, singular, and plural, the pattern. So we say Bilalun atwalu min Aminata. Bilal is taller than Amina. So for Bilal, we are using atwal. And even if we say Aminatu atwalu min Bilalin, even if we talk about the singular feminine, the pattern will be the same, which is af'alu. Amina is taller than Bilal. And even for the plural, al-abna'u atwalu min al-banati, the sons are taller than the daughters. And similarly, al-banatu atwalu min al-abna'i, the daughters are taller than the sons. So now we can see here that for the singular noun and also for the plural noun, we are using the same pattern, which is af'alu. Note the following examples wherein min is followed by a pronoun. So we have the example here, Anta ahsanu minni. You are better than me, or you are better than I. So min plus ya al-mutakallim. And we know that there is an addition of noon as well, noon al-wiqaya. So it becomes minni. You are better than me. Ana aqsaru minka. I am shorter than you. So qasir, aqsar. And then we have seen that hasanun, and then we have ahsanu, and similarly kabirun, and from kabirun we have akbar. Hum akbaru minna sinnan. They are older than us. Okay, now hum akbaru minna. Then we have sinnan. What is that basically? So what do we call that? We call that tamyiz in Arabic. It's called tamyiz. And why do we use it? We use it to clear the ambiguity. So whenever you're comparing to, when you say akbaru min, asgharu min, or you say atwalu min, so then after that, if there is ambiguity, and when you're saying akbaru minni, so to clear that ambiguity, if you say huwa akbaru minni or akbaru minna sinnan, in age, then the meaning will be clear. So that's what we say, that's called tamyiz, and that is used to clear the ambiguity. And inshallah, we will learn about it in detail in book number 3. Af'alu is also used for the superlative degree, that, as we mentioned earlier. In this case, it is followed by a majroor noun. Ibrahimu ahsanu talibin fil madrasati. Ibrahim is the best student in the school. So why do we translate it as the best? Because after ahsanu we have talibin. So when the noun is majroor after the pattern of af'alu, then it is translated as the superlative degree. Numbers. In book number 1, we have learned the numbers from 1 to 10. And we have seen that there were different sets, as we can say, or there were different groups. There was a group for 1 and 2, and then there was a group for 3 to 10. So there were like 2 groups, right? Now we have another group that is for number 11 and 12. 11 and 12. So the numbers from basically from 11 to 19, they are murakkab. What is the meaning of murakkab? Yani they are compound. They are the combination of 2 nouns, and then after that, adad will be the combination of 2 nouns, and then after that we will have ma'dud. So when we talk about the numbers 11 and 12, adad and ma'dud are equal in number and gender. They are equal in number and gender. For example, as we can see here, so adad will always consist of 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. So for example, we say ihda, so this is part 1. Ashrata is part 2, so 11. So we want to say 11 female students. So we will say ihda ashrata talibatan. And please remember that from 11 to 99, the ma'dud or the tamyiz will be singular and it will be mansub. From 11 to 99, the ma'dud will be singular and it will be mansub. And when you talk about the masculine, we will say ahada ashara taliban. So masculine, ahada is used for masculine, ashara is used for masculine, and also taliban is used for masculine. So we can see that adad he's over here is ahada ashara, and it's compound combination of 2, and both of them are masculine. And similarly, the ma'dud is also masculine, and it is also singular and mansub. Similarly, we have, so here, yeah, so ithna ashara taliban, 12 students. So ithna is used for masculine, ashara 12. That will be combination of 1 and 2 is 12, ithna ashara, and 10 plus 2 12, and then taliban will be ma'dud. So adad is always compound from 11 to 19. So ithna ashara taliban, all of them are masculine, and ithnata ashrata talibatan, ithnata is feminine, ashrata is feminine, and talibatan is feminine. So now we have seen that the numbers from 11 to 12, adad and ma'dud, are equal in gender and also equal in number. Then the next set, okay, so that will be from 13 to 19. But before we move on to 13 and 19, we have a little bit more information over here. The adadun is a murakkab. A murakkab means compound word made up of 2 parts. So adad is always a compound word, and it is like always 2 parts. Both parts of the compound word are mabniyun. So very, very important. Both parts of the compound word are mabniyun, and I must add over here that mabniyun al-fath, yani they will always end with fatha. So the numbers, the compound numbers from 11 and then from 13 to 19, 12 is an exception. they will be always mabniyun al-fath. So compound word will be always mabniyun yani indeclinable. Exception to this rule is 12, ithna and ithnata. So that's an exception. Ithna, ithnai, and ithnata, ithnatai. So if for some reason it is used as mansub, it will be ithnai, and for the feminine, it will be ithnatai. And if similarly, if it is majroor, it will be ithna and ithnatai. So these two are declinable. These two are ithna and ithnata, these are exceptions. So number 12 is basically exception to the rule. However, 11 and then 13 to 19, they are mabniyun al-fath. So in genitive case and in the accusative case, they will be ithnai and ithnatai. So adad is part 1 and part 2, and madud is either you can call it madud or we can call it tamyizun. The madud is always singular and mansub, as I mentioned earlier. So madud from 11 to 99, the numbers from 11 to 99, madud is always singular and it is always mansub. So now we move on to the fourth group, which is the numbers from 13 to 19. So there is a small difference from 11 to 12 that we need to notice. When we talk about the numbers from 13 to 19 and in masculine, what happens? Part 1 is opposite to part 2, or it is opposite to madud, as we can see over here. And when we talk about the feminine, the same goes over here. The first part of the compound noun, murakkab, will be opposite to madud. It will be opposite. Part 1 of the compound word is opposite in gender than that of the madud. Part 2 agrees with the gender of the madud. So part 2 and madud will be the same. However, part 1 will be opposite of madud. Again, part 2 and madud will be the same. However, part 1 will be opposite to madud. So if madud is masculine, part 1 will be feminine. And if madud is feminine, then part 1 will be masculine. Let's look at the examples over here. In fact, in this lesson, our focus is on the numbers from 13 to 19 that are used for the masculine. So we can discuss both, but our focus is from the numbers for masculine from 13 to 19. So you want to say 13 masculine students. So we will say ثلاثة عشر طالبا. Why do we have here ثلاثة? Because طالبا is masculine, and the first part of the murakkab has to be opposite in gender. So that's why we will say ثلاثة عشر طالبا. أربعة عشر طالبا. And the second thing that you need to notice over here, that the first murakkab or the compound or the first two nouns or adad is always mabniyun al-fath, as we can see over here. ثلاثة عشر طالبا, it is indeclinable, we can't change it. أربعة عشر طالبا, 14 masculine students. خمسة عشر طالبا, 15. ستة عشر, 16. سبعة عشر طالبا is 17, and ثمانية عشر طالبا is 18, and تسعة عشر طالبا is 19. So today we focus only on masculine numbers, and then inshallah in the next lesson we will focus on the feminine numbers. Only the first one we can see over here, that madud is feminine, talibatan. That's why the first part of the compound, where as we can see here, is masculine. Why? Because madud and the first part of the noun, they are opposite. However, the second part and madud are the same. So the easy way to remember is, if you have ta marbuta here, you have ta marbuta here. And that's the easiest way to remember it. So the numbers here, we can see the 20 number. So when we talk about 20, you can see over here, the adadun is one of on the same pattern as the sound masculine plural. As we know that the sound masculine plural comes on the pattern of una, like muslimuna, sabiruna, and it has the same form for both masculine and feminine. So if you want to say ishruna taliban for the masculine, so as we mentioned earlier, from 11 to 99, ma'dud will be singular and mansub. So we will say ishruna taliban, and also it will be ishruna talibatan, 20 masculine students and 20 feminine students. However, we know that ishruna is declinable, so it can be ishruna, it can be ishrina, depending on what comes before it. So it can be ishrina and it can be ishruna, but the mansub or the ma'dud will be always singular, and it will always be um, singular and mansub. And this is true for all the decades, as we can say, uqud, from 20 to 90, like 20, 30, 40, 50, up to 90. The pattern will be the same, ishruna, thalathuna, arbauna, khamsuna, up to tis'una. The pattern will be the same. Now we are done with the numbers from 11 to 20. So 11 to 20, we have seen there are three sets basically. 11 to 12 is one set or one group. Then 13 to 19 is the another group, and then we have 20 is a different group. So when you talk about numbers from 1 to 20, you have 5 different groups. So please try to write this down and try to make your own notes if you would like to. That the groups we have from 1 to 20, there are 5 different groups. Walakinna means but. Sometimes it's used with waw and sometimes it is used without waw. It means but is one of the sisters of inna and acts like, so it acts like inna. And we know that inna has ismu inna and khabaru inna. Bilalun mujtahidun walakinna hamidan kaslanu. Bilal is hardworking, but Hamid is lazy. So why do we say hamidan? Because after walakinna, we have ismu walakinna and khabaru walakinna, and ismu walakinna will always be mansub. And khabaru walakinna will be always marfu. And we know kaslanu is mamnu min as-sarf. It's mamnu min as-sarf because it is an adjective and it ends with alif and noon. Akhi mutazawwijun walakinni azabun. My brother is married, but I am a bachelor. Now we know that with walakinna, similarly with inna, we can use all the attached pronouns as we practiced for inna. Now you can practice all the attached pronouns with walakinna. For example, walakinna, walakinnahu, walakinnahuma, walakinnahum, and it continues all the way up to walakinnani and walakinna or walakinna. Both of them are possible. Sayyarati qadimatun walakinnaha qawiyatun. My car is old, but it is strong. As I mentioned that we can use all the attached pronouns with walakinna. The next sister of inna is ka'anna, and this is overall the third sister of inna. What was the second sister of inna? Do you remember? It was la'alla. If you remember, it was la'alla. So that was the first sister of, I would say, the first sister of inna. Then this is the first one. So walakinna is the second sister, and perhaps, or I hope, or I fear, excellent. And then we have the third sister of excellent. Yeah. So the third sister of inna, which is ka'anna, is one of the sisters of inna, and so the noun following it is mansub. It means it looks like as if. It looks like as if. It is also used for tashbih. Inshallah, when we learn or when we start studying balagha, the rhetoric, inshallah, we will see that ka'anna is used as a adat tashbih as well. Ka'anna al-imama maridun. It looks as if the imam is sick. So ka'anna and ismu ka'anna is mansub, and khabaru ka'anna is marfu'. Man hadhihi al-fatat? Ka'annaha ukhtuka. Who is this girl? It looks as if she is your sister. So again, with ka'anna, you can also use all the attached pronouns. Ka'anna hadhihi sayyarata lahu. It looks as if this car belongs to him. So ka'anna and then hadhihi sayyarata. So hadhihi, as we know, is a fixed noun. This is ismul ishara, and sayyarata is musharan ilayh, the one that we are pointed at. And this is mansub, and lahu is jar majroor, and we know that jar majroor can also be the khabaru ka'anna. Ka'annaka min al-Hind. You seem to be from India. So here ka'annaka, the attached pronoun will be ismu ka'anna, and min al-Hindi will be khabaru ka'anna. The ordinal numbers. All right, so if you look at the numbers over here, the word for first is awalu. So awalu is mamnu min as-sarf. Why is it mamnu min as-sarf? Awalu. Because it is on the pattern of af'alu. How is it on the pattern of af'alu? Because basically, you can see that waw has tashdid on it. So it is basically, we have hamza, and then we have waw, and then we have another waw, and then we have lam. So we know that when two letters are the same, then we merge them into one, and then we put a tashdid on them, and then it becomes awalu. So now we can see that it is on the pattern of af'alu. That's why it is mamnu min as-sarf. Then ordinal numbers from 2 to 10 are formed on the pattern of fa'ilun. Then the numbers from 2 to 10, they come on the pattern of fa'ilun. Fa'ilun. For example, thalithun, rabi'un, khamisun, sadisun, sabi'un, thaminun, and tasi'un, and sadisun. So the numbers that we have from 2 to 10, they come on the pattern of fa'ilun. However, awalu, number 1, comes on the pattern of af'alu, and it is mamnu min as-sarf. Is this clear? Second is thanin, which is originally thaniyun, like ghalin, ghaliyun. So what kind of noun is this? Do you remember? Ism manqus, ahsant. Yes, very good. So it's a defective noun. So it's basically ghaliyun or thaniyun. However, we have learned that generally ya does not accept tanween, and when we remove tanween, then we replace it with a tanween al-iwad. So we put kasratan, so it becomes thanin. However, when we use al with that, then ya comes back, so it becomes a thani. There are some other possibilities as well when this ya comes back. Do you remember? 2 more possibilities. Please tell me quickly, what are those 2 possibilities? Excellent. When it is used as mudaf, then ya comes back. Yeah, al is already here. And when it is connected with ta marbuta, when it is connected with ta marbuta, then ya comes back. Athaniyata. Athaniyata. So ya will come back. Okay. Alaysa kadhalik. Isn't it so? Alaysa kadhalik. Now, what kind of question is this? This is a negative question, right? So this is a negative question. So whenever we ask a simple question, anta talibun, you will say, na'am, ana talibun. But if you ask a negative question, then the answer will be different, right? So isn't it so if a student is asked, alaysa kadhalik, anta talibun, so then the answer is, anta talibun, alaysa kadhalik, so the answer will be bala. So that's very, very important. Now, because the question is like, it's a negative question, so that's why it's not possible to answer as na'am, because it will give the wrong meaning. So, alastu bi rabbikum bala, right? So we have in the Quran, so we can see over here, anta talibun alaysa kadhalik, isn't it? So the answer should be bala. If I say anta talibun and I stop over here, anta talibun, then what will be the answer? You will say, Naam, ana talibun. Or you will say, La, ana laysa bi talibin, right? If the answer is no. But if you are saying, alaysa kadhalik, then the answer has to be bala. Ayyuhuma, which of the two? So we have seen that ayyun is used to ask a question. And similarly with ayyun, we can also use the attached pronoun. So we want to ask which of the two. So then we will use ayyuhuma. في الفصل طالبان من فرنسا أيهما أخوك. There are 2 students from France in the class. Which of them is your brother? So we can see here أيهما refers to طالبان, 2 students. And you're asking which one of them, so we will say أيهما أخوك, which one of them is your brother. And then we have here the broken plural. We have learned about it in detail in book 1. That the broken plural forms mafa'ilu and mafa'ilu are mamnu min as-sarf. Okay, and on these 2 patterns we have the example of on mafa'ilu we have fanadiqu, hotels, and then we have mafa'ilu, we have fanajinu, that's the teacups, and these are called muntahal jumur. Muntaha al-Jumur means after, it's not possible to make plural after that. That's why we call them Muntaha al-Jumur. So, yeah, intaha darsu bi'awnillahi ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, we have completed our lesson. This lesson consists of lots of new ideas, as we can see over here. So I would like you to please master these ideas first, and then we will get into the text so that we can implement whatever we have learned. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.